Thin skin's what you got.
their passion for their work,
But the world belongs to the meat eaters, Miss Clara, and if you have to take it raw, take it.
and for each other.
I couldn't live.
Paul Newman, the iconic actor, race car enthusiast, and philanthropist, was known to millions for his piercing blue eyes, effortless charm, and legendary talent on screen. But behind the cameras, there was a side of Newman few have ever seen. Hidden away for decades, his most private photos have surfaced, revealing a world far beyond the public persona everyone thought they knew. These images are not just snapshots. They are glimpses into a life of vulnerability, passion, and moments he never intended for the world to witness. From rare behind-the-scenes moments on film sets to intimate family memories, each photo tells a story that adds layers to the man who became a Hollywood legend. Fans might think they know Paul Newman, but these private images challenge everything they thought they understood about him. The untold story behind these photos is even more fascinating. Many were carefully preserved, hidden from the prying eyes of media and fans alike, suggesting that Newman himself knew the power of privacy. Some reveal the actor at his most playful, others at moments of quiet reflection, showing a man of depth, humor, and humanity. These pictures provide an unparalleled look at his relationships, passions, and private joys, the parts of life that never made it to magazine covers or red carpet events. Experts, historians, and close friends have weighed in, confirming that the photos provide insight into Newman's personal life, his motivations, and the human side of someone often idolized as untouchable. The untold story that accompanies these images adds context, revealing why he guarded certain moments so fiercely and what these glimpses truly say about him. For anyone who has admired Paul Newman, this collection is nothing short of extraordinary. It's a rare chance to see the man behind the legend, to connect with the emotions, memories, and experiences that shaped one of the greatest actors of all time. And as these private moments come to light, the world begins to understand the true complexity of Paul Newman, a legend both on and off the screen. Paul Newman was a man whose public persona seemed nearly flawless. The charming actor with piercing blue eyes, a gentle smile, and an aura of effortless charisma that captured the hearts of millions. But while the world celebrated his on-screen achievements and charitable endeavors, there existed an entirely different dimension of his life, a private world rarely glimpsed by anyone outside his closest circle. This chapter of his life, preserved in photographs, letters, and intimate mementos, remained hidden for decades, locked away from the public eye. The story begins with the discovery of a private collection of photographs, carefully stored and largely unseen until recently. These images offer an unprecedented view into the personal side of Newman, a man both iconic and deeply human. From candid moments on film sets to quiet times with family and friends, these photos reveal aspects of his personality, relationships, and passions that were deliberately kept out of the limelight. They serve as windows into a life lived with intention, humor, and, at times, solitude. In the early years of his career, Newman quickly became a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. Directors and co-stars often remarked on his magnetism and professionalism, yet behind the cameras, Newman led a life that was private by design. Some photos reveal him in informal moments with colleagues, laughing between takes or reflecting silently on scripts and scenes. Others show him immersed in hobbies, such as racing cars, a passion he pursued with the same intensity he brought to acting. Each photograph carries a story, often untold, that adds nuance to the man the public thought they knew. One of the most striking aspects of these private images is the way they contrast with his public image. The world saw Newman as confident, composed, and effortlessly charismatic, yet the photos capture moments of vulnerability, quiet reflections, intimate family gatherings, and personal achievements unaccompanied by media attention. These glimpses remind us that even those who seem larger than life experience private emotions, joys, and struggles that shape their identity. Beyond personal moments, some photos reveal Newman's humanitarian side in action, often in small, subtle ways that were never publicized. Charitable acts, private visits to children's hospitals, and interactions with friends in need appear candidly, unposed, and genuine. They underscore a man whose compassion and empathy extended far beyond his public image, reinforcing the idea that Newman's true legacy is not only in film, but in the countless quiet moments of kindness that few ever witnessed. Experts and historians who have studied the collection emphasize its significance. The photographs do more than show a famous actor in private. They document the emotional landscape of a life that was both extraordinary and profoundly human. Through these images, we see a man navigating fame, family, friendship, and personal interests with careful balance. We see the choices he made to protect his privacy, the moments he treasured away from the public eye, and the deliberate way he crafted both his public and private identities. For decades, fans have known Paul Newman as a screen legend, but these private photographs reveal the layers beneath the surface. They remind the world that the man behind the roles was not merely a symbol of charm and talent, but a person with emotions, relationships, and experiences that defined him just as much as his celebrated work. This collection marks the beginning of a journey into the most intimate corners of Newman's life, offering insights that challenge assumptions and deepen appreciation for the actor, the humanitarian, and the private individual who captured hearts both on and off screen. While Paul Newman's public image was that of effortless charm and on-screen charisma, his private photos tell a very different story, a story of depth, passion, and moments of life that the world rarely glimpsed. Each image carries layers of meaning, capturing not just who Newman was, but the experiences, emotions, and relationships that shaped him off-screen. Some of the earliest photos in the collection date back to his formative years in Hollywood. Here, we see a young Newman navigating the pressures of fame while remaining intensely dedicated to his craft. Candid shots reveal him reviewing scripts late at night, rehearsing quietly in empty studios, or sharing private jokes with co-stars. These images suggest a man deeply committed to perfection, but also someone who treasured subtle human connection over the glitz of celebrity life. Among the most striking images are those with family and close friends. Rarely seen in public, Newman is captured in intimate settings, reading to his children, sharing a quiet moment with his wife Joanne Woodward, or laughing in small gatherings away from cameras and fans. These photos emphasize the importance of family in Newman's life. While the world marveled at his film performances, it was in these personal moments that his true character, humble, loving, and present, was revealed. Other photos provide insight into Newman's passions beyond Hollywood. A significant portion of the collection highlights his love for racing. Images show him behind the wheel, helmet strapped, eyes focused on the track, embodying both determination and exhilaration. These shots underscore a side of Newman few associated with the gentle, charismatic actor, a thrill seeker, a man unafraid to challenge himself and live fully, whether on screen or in life. Perhaps the most poignant photos are those that capture quiet reflection. Some show Newman sitting alone, gazing out of a window, or quietly writing in a journal. They hint at a man who balanced public success with private introspection, someone who wrestled with questions of purpose, artistry, and personal fulfillment. These reflective moments offer a powerful contrast to the glamorous roles he played, revealing the vulnerability and complexity behind the persona that audiences adored. In addition to personal and reflective images, the collection also highlights Newman's humanitarian efforts. Photos document private visits to hospitals, moments of discreet charity work, and genuine interactions with fans and colleagues in need. Unlike the staged philanthropy often publicized in Hollywood, these images show Newman engaging with people authentically, underscoring a quiet compassion that was integral to who he was. It was a side of Newman that required no camera, no applause, just humanity. Historians and archivists note that the value of these private photos is more than aesthetic. Each image contextualizes Newman's life choices, revealing a deliberate effort to maintain balance between public acclaim and private fulfillment. They illustrate a man who, despite global fame, prioritized authenticity and emotional connection, carefully preserving the moments that truly mattered to him. For fans and admirers, these photographs are transformative. They challenge preconceived notions, offering a fuller understanding of Newman as a multifaceted individual. Here was an actor celebrated for his talent, yet also a husband, father, racer, thinker, and humanitarian. The collection captures a life lived deliberately, one that balanced brilliance and humanity in ways rarely visible to the public. These untold stories embedded in Newman's private photos serve as a bridge, connecting the public legend with the private man. They invite us to see not just the actor on the screen, but the person behind the scenes, a man of passion, compassion, and complexity. As we continue to explore these images, the layers of Paul Newman's life unfold, revealing truths that are as compelling as any of his celebrated performances. Among Paul Newman's private collection, certain photos stand out for their sheer intimacy and the untold stories they reveal. These images provide more than glimpses into his personal life. They offer an unparalleled understanding of the man behind the iconic screen presence. From family and friends to quiet self-reflection, each photo adds layers to the narrative of Newman's private world. One particularly striking series of photos shows Newman in moments of family life, candid and unguarded. In one image, he sits at a kitchen table with his children, laughing as a playful mishap unfolds. In another, he's captured reading quietly to his wife, Joanne Woodward, their connection evident even in a fleeting glance. These photos demonstrate a side of Newman rarely shared with the public, devoted, present, and fully engaged in the joys and challenges of family life. For fans used to seeing him in glamorous roles, these intimate moments humanize him, showing that beneath the legend was a man who cherished personal relationships above fame or recognition. Other images reveal Newman's passions outside acting, particularly his love for racing. Behind the wheel of a sleek race car, helmet secured, eyes sharp with focus, Newman exudes determination and intensity. These photos contrast sharply with his composed on-screen persona, highlighting a thrill-seeking side that few associated with the gentle charm of his film characters. Racing was more than a hobby. It was a personal challenge, a space where Newman could fully immerse himself and test his limits, away from cameras and public scrutiny. Equally revealing are photos that capture quiet reflection and solitude. Newman is seen sitting alone in a study, gazing out a window, or writing notes in a journal. These images hint at the introspective side of a man who balanced immense fame with private contemplation. They suggest a deep awareness of self, a thoughtful consideration of his place in the world, and an effort to remain grounded despite the pressures of Hollywood. They also reveal the vulnerability and emotional depth that fueled both his personal relationships and his legendary performances. Perhaps the most compelling images are those documenting Newman's charitable efforts. While widely admired for his philanthropy, many of these private photos were never meant for public eyes. Newman is seen visiting hospitals discreetly, engaging with children and patients with genuine empathy, and quietly supporting friends and communities in need. These photographs underscore a key aspect of his character: generosity without expectation of recognition. Unlike staged media appearances, these images show the authenticity of his compassion, illustrating a man who lived his values in both public and private spheres. The untold stories embedded in these photos also reveal Newman's humor and playfulness, qualities often overshadowed by his professional image. Candid snapshots show him joking with colleagues, performing pranks on set, and sharing laughter with friends. These moments remind us that even the most iconic figures have a playful, human side, one that existed beyond the curated image audiences saw on screen. Historians and archivists emphasize that the collection of private photos is invaluable, not just for understanding Newman as a celebrity, but as a fully realized human being. They provide context for his choices, his values, and the way he navigated both fame and personal life. The images show that Newman carefully maintained a balance, ensuring that his private joys, reflections, and relationships remained intact despite public scrutiny. For admirers, the photographs transform the way we view Paul Newman. They reveal a man of layers, a dedicated father, a loving husband, a passionate racer, a reflective thinker, a generous humanitarian, and a joyful friend. Each image tells a story, showing the richness of a life lived fully, thoughtfully, and with integrity. These private moments, hidden for decades, allow the world to see not just a legend, but a man whose humanity was as remarkable as his public achievements. The discovery of Paul Newman's private photos does more than reveal intimate glimpses of his life. It reshapes our understanding of his legacy. For decades, Newman was celebrated as a screen legend, the man with the piercing blue eyes, effortless charm, and an aura of perfection. Yet these images reveal a deeper, more nuanced portrait, a man who navigated fame with humility, cultivated meaningful personal relationships, and pursued passions that transcended Hollywood's glamour. One of the most remarkable aspects of the collection is how it captures Newman's authenticity. Unlike staged media appearances, the private photos show him fully present, whether with family, friends, or alone in quiet reflection. Moments like reading to his children, sharing an unguarded laugh with his wife, or quietly observing life around him remind us that his greatest performances were not always on film. They were lived in private, with sincerity and care. These images illuminate the values he cherished, highlighting the balance he struck between his public persona and personal life. The collection also deepens appreciation for Newman's off-screen passions. Racing, in particular, emerges as a defining aspect of his identity. In photos behind the wheel, focused and intense, we see the exhilaration and discipline that drove him beyond Hollywood. Racing offered him an outlet to challenge himself, to embrace risk, and to feel fully alive. These images remind us that Newman was not defined solely by his acting career. He pursued life with curiosity, energy, and dedication in every realm he touched. Charitable moments captured in the collection further illustrate the breadth of Newman's humanity. He appears visiting hospitals, interacting with children, and quietly supporting causes close to his heart. These were not publicity stunts, but genuine acts of kindness, performed without expectation of recognition. The photos highlight the integral role compassion played in his life, revealing a man who understood the value of empathy and action, principles he carried both privately and publicly. Perhaps most compelling are the reflective moments. Photos of Newman alone, writing or simply gazing into the distance, hint at his inner life, a man who thoughtfully considered his choices, relationships, and the meaning of his work. They show that despite fame and success, he remained introspective, aware of life's complexities, and committed to living authentically. These images bridge the gap between public legend and private human, offering a rare window into the emotional depth that informed both his artistry and personal interactions. Historians and admirers alike emphasize that the collection transforms our understanding of Newman's life. The photos reveal the intentionality with which he lived, balancing career and family, fame and privacy, ambition and humility. They provide context for the man behind the icon, reminding the world that greatness is not just measured by accolades, but by the integrity, care, and humanity one exhibits daily. For fans, these private images are transformative. They offer more than nostalgia, they offer connection. By witnessing Newman's private joys, reflections, and passions, audiences gain a fuller understanding of the man who inspired millions both on and off screen. The untold stories behind the photos serve as a testament to a life lived with purpose, love, and authenticity, elevating his legacy beyond the realm of cinema into the hearts of those who value character as much as talent. Ultimately, Paul Newman's private photos remind us that even icons are human, complex, layered, and deeply emotional. They show a man who pursued excellence, cherished relationships, and approached life with curiosity, generosity, and integrity. Through these hidden images, we see that Newman's legacy extends far beyond his films. It resides in the private moments, quiet acts of kindness, and heartfelt reflections that defined who he truly was. His life, captured in both public triumph and intimate privacy, stands as an enduring example of what it means to live fully, authentically, and generously.